Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. Okay, recently, now I don't particularly always like to talk about a plane going overhead, so hopefully I can talk over that noise. As you people know, I haven't spoken a lot about boxing because I'm just not all that excited about the matches being made. I'm fairly excited about some of the fighters, like Mikey Garcia wanting to fight Errol Spence and Lomachenko and Terrence Crawford and his move up to welterweight. But on average, the way these fights, when the Charlos are fighting Lara, right? And they're fighting Trout, right? Austin Trout. Come on, man. One's fighting Austin Trout, other one's fighting, Lara, right? I'm not saying Lara's not good, but like, where's the threat with these, where's the threat with these kind of opponents? So I don't really talk about boxing that often, but recently they had Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, fight Canelo Alvarez, and there are some people who are outraged that Golovkin lost to Canelo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a spin, and of course my spin is different than a lot of other people, and again, as I've said before, and I will continually say, if you do not agree with me, right, then you're wrong. Now, the major issue with Golovkin is, yes, he said he would come forward, and he said he wanted to fight Mexican style, and Roy Jones brilliantly covered that. But there is a major problem. There's one thing that I don't think many people hit on, right? The jab. The jab was the problem for Golovkin, for Triple G, right? Because sometimes I mispronounce and I say Golovkin and people get, mad. I mean, they can't find anything wrong with my brilliance, right? So they say, he pronounced it wrong. He pronounced Valley Huda wrong. They can't find anything wrong. I gotta get this colored guy, he can't be so right, he's too right, I hate the fact that he's right and it's not Joe Rogan, so they come up with anything, well, he mispronounced something. That's how desperate people are today. It's a shame, it really is, but that's all right. So Triple G, I'll stick to Triple G. Triple G, right? Triple G's problem was his jab. That was his problem. Before I go into what that problem is, and you want to stick around, because I'm going to give you what he could have done, still boxing and jabbing, what he could have done and what he did wrong, right? We need to understand that it's not about points. Many of you are talking about points, right? And that he threw more punches. Well, when you talk about boxing and points, people, understand this. And I'm not calling you morons and idiots because some of my friends believe that Triple G, right, scored more points. And I can't call them idiots or morons, right? It also doesn't mean you're an idiot or moron if you believe that it's about points. So I'm not going to call you any names because I understand it's understandable. It's perfectly logical that you think that it should be about points because that's what they told you. Boxing is not about points. The point issue is just a template. This is a template that we use, points. We use a template of points, but there are other factors that we will consider. What many of you do not understand when your fighter does not win is that those other things are being considered in addition to points. So you have CompuBox, but CompuBox in and of itself is not what determines the winner of a fight. If that was true, then Jose Luis Castillo would have gotten his first fight against Floyd Mayweather, which, in my opinion, Castillo should have at least gotten a draw and kept his lightweight title. But that's another issue altogether. If you don't believe me, watch the fight, come back into this forum, even though that's not the issue of this forum, come back into this forum, tell me what you think about the fight. And most of you will have to say Castillo should have kept his title based on a draw, and he did lose, to Floyd the next fight. But when we look at points, understanding that yes, Golovkin may have scored more points, but that is merely a template. What many people saw was the problem, and I'm going to explain that to you. They saw Alvarez moving forward, and Golovkin, who is known to move forward himself, retreating, right? Retreating. He could have still retreated and won. But what was the problem? The problem was the same thing many Triple G fans say was the reason he won. His jab. His jab. Now, this is coming from a person who's been boxing and teaching boxing, a boxing master, for 48 years. The problem is his jab. Many times, Triple G would throw a jab with his body being back and his arm being extended. What do I mean? Many times what he was doing was throwing a jab not to hurt Alvarez, but to keep Alvarez off of him. He was not throwing an aggressive jab all the time. Now, of course, he did it sometimes. But many times he pawed with his jab. He pawed with his jab. Had he thrown a jab, shifting his weight forward, an offensive jab, then not only would the judges have scored those jabs more, but you would have saw more damage done to Alvarez. If you want to see a jab, I will recommend two people. Marvelous Marvin Hagler's jab, right? Like this.
What a jab. Brilliant jab by Marvin Hagler.
And then you have George St. Pierre's jab, which is like this. Those are jabs. When you throw a jab, you have jabs that are designed to hurt the individual. And then you have jabs that are designed to keep an individual off of you. So while you were doing an offensive movement, to the judges, the intent is defensive. Now I'm going to repeat that because a lot of you are like, it's that deep. You're a little woozy, right? I know. I have a tendency to have that effect on people, right? The thing is that you have an offensive movement, but the judges see that the intent is defensive. So you need to throw a jab, and your jab must be like this. Or like this.
What a jab. Brilliant jab by Marvin Hagler.
That was the problem. Now, were there people who said, well, you know, Triple G shouldn't have backed up? Of course. Did that hurt him to start going in retreat? Of course. But he still could have won it. He still could have won it had he had more intent behind his jab. The idea that it's all about points is not true. It is a template. When all things are the same, when both fighters are standing toe-to-toe, when both fighters are just standing there and knocking each other, trying to knock each other's brains out, we will go to the points. That's what they're trying to tell you. But the whole idea that it is all about points and nothing else is considered is not true. So many of you people are getting bent out of shape, and many of you people are getting pissed off that Canelo won the fight, even though he missed some more punches than he did in the last fight. Fact of the matter is that Golovkin retreated, and he retreated without using an offensive tool with offensive intent behind it, with offensive intent behind it. That was the major problem. Okay? His jab, people. His jab. That's from the Walking Encyclopedia. Safe Carmen. See you next video.